Bonjour à toutes et à tous et bienvenue dans une nouvelle vidéo sur Learn to French. Je m'appelle Eden et j'enseigne le français. Hello and welcome to another video on Learn to French. If you are new here, my name is Eden and I teach French. Dans la vidéo d'aujourd'hui, j'aimerais vous parler un petit peu des questions fréquentes en français, surtout pour le DELF A1 et A2. In today's video, I would like us to go through the most frequent questions that are asked during the DELF A1 and A2 tests. Et quelles sont ces questions? Well, generally, they are going to be the same questions most of the time. Questions about yourself, what you like to do, about your family, or where you live. And let's try to find out how we can answer them. If you like this kind of content, of course, make sure to simply like this video or subscribe to my channel, Learn to French. So generally, the first question that your examiner will ask is going to be Comment vous appelez-vous? Or simply, they're going to say Présentez-vous. Especially if you are in the DELF A2. If your examiner is asking for your name, Comment vous appelez-vous? Or Vous vous appelez comment? You are going to answer with your name. Bonjour, madame, monsieur. Je m'appelle Marie. Je m'appelle Eden. Donc, je m'appelle. And not mon nom est. My name is. Literal translation for my name is. In French, you're going to use the verb s'appeler. Je m'appelle. Basically, I call myself. Quel âge avez-vous? Or, quel âge est-ce que vous avez? Or even, vous avez quel âge? How old are you? And this is where you should know your numbers. You are also going to use the verb avoir instead of être. In English, when someone asks you for your age, you say I am, and you're using the verb to be, être. But in French, you're going to say I have and then my age. J'ai ans. Donc par exemple, j'ai 28 ans. J'ai 28 ans. J'ai 32 ans. The next question is comment allez-vous or comment ça va? How are you doing? You can simply answer by saying je vais bien, merci. Et vous? Je vais bien, merci. Et vous? Or ça va bien, merci. Et vous? And since this is an exam or a test, you are mostly going to say that you're doing fine. If your examiner is asking d'où venez-vous? Or vous venez d'où? Or d'où est-ce que vous venez? They are asking you where you're coming from. And here, the answer will depend on, of course, where you're coming from. But there's a pattern. You can say, je viens de, and the place you come from. So it can be a city or a country. So if you would like to use a city, you're going to say, je viens de, and then the city. Par exemple, je viens de Lyon. Je viens de Montréal. If you would like to add the country, you can simply say, je viens des Philippines. So you're going to add du for masculine countries, de for feminine countries, and des for plural countries. If your singular country is starting with a vowel or a silent H, then you are going to use D apostrophe. Donc par exemple, je viens d'Inde. Donc je viens de France, je viens des Philippines, je viens des États-Unis, je viens d'Angleterre. But before you do that, you need to know what your country is in French and if it's feminine or masculine, singular or plural. There's a trick for that. Usually, countries that end with an S are going to be plural, and most countries that end with an E are going to be feminine, aside from Mexique, Cambodge, Mozambique. To the question, qu'est-ce que vous faites dans la vie? What do you do in life, or what do you do for a living? Qu'est-ce que vous faites dans la vie? Or vous faites quoi dans la vie? Or que faites-vous dans la vie? You can answer with your situation. Donc par exemple, je suis étudiante. Or je suis pharmacien. So you can use the verb être, je suis, or you can say j'étudie or je travaille, depending on your situation. Par exemple, j'étudie la médecine. Je travaille dans une pharmacie. Je travaille dans un supermarché. Quel est votre passe-temps préféré or quels sont vos passe-temps préférés? Un passe-temps or un loisir is a hobby. Un passe-temps, so passing time. basically. And if your examiner is asking you about votre passe-temps, they are asking about your activities and your hobbies. So what you like to do in your free time, outside of work or school. So here you can say, j'aime faire du vélo, j'aime plus your activity, or simply you can say, je joue au, à la, or al apostrophe, or aux, and then your activity. So usually this is for playing sports, for example, or playing games. Donc par exemple, je joue au football. But you can also say, je fais, and then sports. Donc je fais de la gymnastique, je fais de la randonnée, etc. And the difference between jouer and faire is simply that jouer is for playing. So you can play sports or you can play a game. And faire is to do. Donc, faire de la gymnastique, because you don't really play gymnastics. Je fais de la natation, par exemple. And the main difference is that with jouer, you're going to use au, à la, al apostrophe, or aux, depending on your activity or activities. If it's feminine, you're going to use à la. If it's masculine, you're going to use au, au. If it is plural, you're going to use aux. And if it's singular, starting with a vowel or a silent H, then you are going to use al apostrophe. For faire, you are going to use pretty much the same thing, but you're going to use de. Donc, du, de la, de L apostrophe, and des. Donc, du for masculine, de la for feminine, de L apostrophe if it's singular, starting with a vowel, and des for plural activities. Donc, par exemple, je fais du yoga. Je fais de la gymnastique. Je fais de l'escalade. Je fais des activités manuelles. So that's the main difference between jouer and faire. Now, if you are playing an instrument, for example, then you're going to use jouer, but you're going to mix it with what we've seen with faire. Donc, jouer and du, de la, de L apostrophe, and des. Donc, par exemple, je joue du piano. Je joue de la guitare, and so on, depending on your musical instrument, if it's feminine, masculine, singular, plural, or beginning with a vowel. So that was for hobbies. Now, a question that your examiner can ask you is, où est-ce que vous habitez? Or, vous habitez où? Or, où habitez-vous? Now, they are, of course, asking where you live, where you currently live. And in that case, you can simply answer with j'habite à, and then the city. J'habite à Lyon. J'habite à Paris. If you would simply like to specify the country, then you can use j'habite en, and then the feminine country. J'habite au, for masculine countries. And j'habite au, aux, for plural countries. Donc, par exemple, j'habite en France, because France is feminine. J'habite au Vietnam, because Vietnam is masculine. J'habite aux Philippines, because Philippines is plural. So remember, à for cities, and en, au, and o for countries. Pourquoi apprenez-vous le français? Or, pourquoi est-ce que vous apprenez le français? Why are you learning French? J'apprends le français pour le travail, or j'apprends le français pour étudier en France. J'apprends le français parce que je suis mariée à un Français ou une Française. Or j'apprends le français parce que j'habite en France. If you simply want to say, I am learning French because I love French, then you can say, j'apprends le français parce que j'aime le français. Donc, j'apprends le français, I am learning French, parce que, because, and then the rest of your sentence. Now, the main thing that you should remember is that you always get prepared before an exam, so try to revise your vocabulary and the answers. Try to anticipate the questions of your examiner. That's a very important thing here. Usually the questions will be pretty much the same, but anticipating them is something that you can keep in mind and that you should do. Usually the topics are going to be about yourself, your work, your studies, your family, where you live, your country, etc. For DELF A1, the questions are, of course, easier than DELF A2, but in DELF A2, if you decide to take this exam, then of course you must feel ready. So anticipate, work on your listening comprehension and your vocabulary. Cette vidéo est maintenant terminée. I hope you enjoyed staying with me today. If you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the comments section down below. Merci beaucoup et à très bientôt. Au revoir!